Hello people, it's great to have you join us on this week's episode of the program Youths Can, reaching you from independent television from the hills of Mpapi here in Abuja. I am your host, Osawoname Ibizubi. This week on the program, we are going to focus on major activities that played out in the year 2020, from the COVID-19 pandemic, from the NSAS protest to the fallout of the protest, where we saw massive looting that rocked lots of states in Nigeria. But first, let's take a look at the tweet for this week. As the year 2020 is about to run out, have you been able to achieve some of the resolutions that you had at the beginning of this year? If no, I don't think you should beat yourself up to it, because I'm sure a lot of us were not able to, even though to a large extent some people were able to achieve some of them. The year hasn't been great, if you ask me, but the fact that we are alive, healthy and breathing, I think that is the greatest blessing of all, and we should be thankful. The year 2021 is going to be another chance for us to make the difference that we are yearning for. How was your resolutions? Were you able to get any of them? Do you believe in resolutions at all? Well, let's move on to the interview segment on the program, where we talked about the issues that played out in the year 2020. That's a review of the year. Hello there, thank you for staying with us. This is the interview segment on the program Youths Can, and like I said earlier, we are focusing on 2020 and the events that has played out so far. We had the COVID-19 pandemic, which started out so early in the year, there about in February, March 2020. After the COVID-19 pandemic, which took a lot of people by surprise and had a much effect on the economy, we had the issue of the NSAS protest, which was tagged the mother of all protests in Nigeria. And the fallout of the protest was the massive looting that rocked various states of the Federation. And you know one funny thing about the whole NSAS looting thing, and another fallout from the protest was the issue of the prison break we had in Edo State, and that led to to a lot of criminal activities. We had cold clashes in Benin. We had some in Rivers State, Port Harcourt precisely. And I mean, in all of this, the youth, who make up to over 70% of the population, are at the center of this. Where do we go from there? How prepared are you to move into the digital world? I've been joined in the studio today by Mr. Igweshi Augustine, who is the Executive Director of Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development, and we'll be doing this discussion together. It's great to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
First, let me start. How did you celebrate your Christmas holiday?
Well, Christmas was an amazing, it was actually a moment to bring families together, a moment to take a break from work, a moment to enjoy, have a relaxation time with your family, friends. It was an awesome moment for me, because I actually enjoyed the moment, having stayed off from work, staying with family, staying with friends, hanging out with my friends and family. So it was an amazing moment, and it was so awesome.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Christmas is always very exciting, but sadly, do you think the events that has played out so far this year had any effect on this Christmas? I mean, just in the build-up to the Christmas, it's always very exciting. You go out around the city, you see Christmas lights, decorations everywhere. But this year, I'm not sure I saw any of that.
Yeah, it cannot be the impact of the pandemic. Yeah. Not just the pandemic, everything that has played out in 2020 actually impacted on the way the Christmas is normally celebrated. When you go out, you see people, street lights, you see event centers, you see nightclubs, you see churches decorating for crossover night. But as it is now, I have not heard churches decorating for crossover night, because we wouldn't know if it is going to hold, because there are a lot of ban in night gathering and all of that. Okay. So the pandemic actually affected the way Christmas is normally celebrated, and it's no longer the normal thing.
Okay, would you say, how would I put this question now? Are you one of those who believe that 2020 was a very difficult year?
No.
Okay, why is that?
2020 was not actually difficult for me. It actually helped me a lot. Like they say, sometimes when something bad happens, it actually brings some opportunity too. So 2020 actually presented me with a lot of opportunities. Normally I do my programs on set and offline. I mean, having events, organize events physically and all of that. But since the pandemic came, I adapted to the new normal, which is having to do online stuff. But with that engagement, I was able to reach wider audience. Do you understand? Yeah. So I was able to connect with people across the world. But if I were to do it physically in Nigeria, I can only engage with Nigeria audience. The people who are around. But with the pandemic, which afforded us to, actually started making use of Zoom and other platforms to host programs around. So it actually made a way for people to connect. I hosted some global programs, some international programs that I had people from across 50 countries participating.
Thanks to COVID.
Yes. So I also improved, during the lockdown, I was able to improve my knowledge, learn some things online, improve my skills and all of that, obtain some certificates online. So during the lockdown, I was able to do some courses online. I was able to connect with more people online. I was able to build more network online. Actually, the pandemic actually wasn't it didn't impact on me that negatively. It impacted on me positively. But for others, I could not say for them.
Yeah, you cannot tell for others.
Yes. But when you look at the whole situation, you know how it impacted the economy. But when it comes to knowledge, individuals, achievement, it differs.
Yes, I would agree with you.
But for me, it actually it was actually a moment that I could always remember, because it helped me connect, it helped me network, it helped me build more network across Africa.
Yeah, I think I can understand where you're coming from. I know, speaking from my own personal perspective, this was also a year I made a lot of achievements, and I had a lot of opportunities work-wise, which I was able to click in. But in the light of all of this, it is believed that the COVID-19 pandemic brought the future, that we are already in the future, where everything goes digital. Do you see that? Do you think we are there already?
Well, for developing countries like Nigeria, it's actually open up for us to embrace technology. Yes, it opened us for us to embrace technology, knowing that between now and 10 years to come, technology is just the way. It has come to stay. The new normal has come to stay in the sense that technology like Zoom, other apps, and other means of communication has come to stay. Many people, organization, companies are now channeling their activities to online, virtual means of meeting. So if you look at the cost of bringing people together, the cost of organizing events, so people now prefer to use this technology to carry out these activities
instead of doing physical.
It has come to stay. So I would say that, like Nigeria should embrace this and develop more innovation and technology, especially in terms of their network connectivities and internet connectivity. Because when you are carrying out activities online, there's always disruption of internet, there's always disruption of network issues. As I must say that I encourage Nigeria leaders, those in technology aspect, to improve on technological dividends, so that from henceforth there will be more people will have more access to technology and begin to key into the new normal.
Okay, in terms of keying into the new normal, apart from the COVID-19 pandemic, another major issue we had, just like some people said that we had 5 months in this year, we had January, we had COVID, we have NSAS, we had, I think, looting then, December. Okay, we had the issue of the NSAS protests that came up, where we saw youths come together to protest against some issues in Nigeria. And the fallout of that protest was the massive looting that rocked different states as well as the FCT in Nigeria. How sad are you as a young person to see that the people, the largest percentage of people who were involved in that heinous act were youths? How sad is that?
For me, looking at the NSAS protests, I am very sad in the sense that the way the government approach the NSAS peaceful protesters, because every Nigerian, especially young people, have the right. It's their fundamental right to protest. Is their right to protest against injustice meted on them. So I feel very sad that the way government approached the issue by enforcing what is not supposed to be enforced to key innocent protesters.
Okay, no, beside that, I'm talking about the looting. We're not focusing on the protest now. We are talking about the looting that followed. Where youths broke into various warehouses, storage facilities, and carted away items, which was not meant to be.
I must say, the looting aspect of it, if you look at it, the young people felt that what belongs to them, what was meant to them, has been hidden. And the only way they can get it is to break in to get it from where it has been hidden.
That was the way we went about it, right?
But for me, it wasn't right. I must not encourage that, and I will never encourage that. You can't take the law by your hand. So it is sad for young people to begin to engage in looting. Looting is never a good thing. There there could be alternative way of getting these things, yes, out. It could be of laying a complaint, engaging the appropriate authority. Maybe they have discovered that something has been hidden somewhere. They could alert the appropriate authority. They now swear into action to check if these things were actually hidden or it was meant for a particular purpose. But by breaking into, steal and take away those things is actually not good at all. It's not encouraging, and it actually has some impact, and it's not something I could say that youth should be involved in doing, because they represent the higher percentage of Nigerians. So when they get involved in these things, it has a very negative impact, both in the economy and the life of the youth in general.
Another major issue is the issue of insecurity. We have banditry, kidnappings in the north. When you go to the south, you have the issue of cult clashes, unrest among the youths. We hear of killings daily, and it seems, how would I put it? We have to give it to the security agencies who are at the forefront of fighting the security and ensuring that they protect the citizens of Nigeria. If you were president, what would you do differently in terms of addressing these issues?
Okay, well, in Nigeria, when you look at the situation in Nigeria, Nigeria is a very diverse country with different people and different kind of yes, it's a very diverse country, and when you look at the different kind of clashes, they have the trend. If you look at the trend in the north, look at the trend in the south, you begin to look at how you can be able to resolve them. So if I were to be a president, what I could do, if I have to do what we call, but one thing that government has always failed to do is to check early warnings. Before these things occurs, there's always early warnings.
How do you identify these warnings?
There's early warnings.
It's not written on the head, that I'm just going to go out there, kidnap someone, and ask for a ransom.
If you have studied the trend before, you could perceive other things. There's always security alert. Okay. There's always security alert. So when you check the security alert, it's always encouraged to swing into action to checkmate these things. But when government or people feel reluctant to checkmate these early warnings, that is where it becomes more difficult to control. So if I were to be the president, I have to look into the drawing board, look into my security architecture, look at what is not working, look at what is working, see how I can be able to program effective engagement. Do you understand? Between the military, the police, and other guards that all the security, both JTF and all of that. So I look at my policing, I look at how my program has been. If this program I have drawn to tackle banditry, kidnapping, Boko Haram issues is not working, I have to strategize, understand, look at how I can withdraw my action plan and take effective action in tackling those issues.
All right. Now, in the light of all of this, and as a way of rounding up, what roles do young Nigerians have to play in ensuring that there is peace and unity in our country?
Well, young people have a very vital role to play. Looking at the potency of their engagement, their tenacity, strength, and desire, look at the fresh blood running on them. They have a major role to play. Their role include engagement. Like when you look at young people, but one of the things that hinders young people from engaging in issues of peace-building action is the enabling environment to engage. So their role include, when you come to issue of peace-building action, young people have been promoting peace-building action. So their role includes promoting peace-building action, ensuring that, inspiring other young people, like for us, young people that are engaging in peace-building action. We always try to engage other young people, inspire them with what we do, encourage them that, look, peace is the only way. We cannot engage in violence. Violence has no gain. There's no gain in engaging in violence. Looking at the destructions and everything that has happened, you do not need to involve yourself in violent conflict. You do not collect these things so just for you to commit the act. Look at the future ahead of you, looking at what you have to gain, trying to change their mindset, trying to change their attitudinal behavior. Sometimes the environment where they grow up actually affect how they go about doing things. So we'll try to engage them in these things. But the role of young people have been effective engagement in advocating for peace, nonviolent actions, also creating awareness. And also social media has been one of the effective tools in which young people can take active role to ensure that we achieve a peaceful and a secured country. So when you look at sometimes young people, if you look at the percentage of youth that are now engaging in social media, it will actually portray a way which we can actually tackle some of the issue. But oftentimes you need to filter the kind of information you share. Look at it so that you not begin to share fake news, disinformation and misinformation. So effective peace building advocacy, effective non-violent approach are the role young people are taking to ensure that we achieve peace in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, across the board.
Across board. All right, thank you very much. According to the Executive Director of Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development, Igweshi, Augustine, I'm sure I got that right.
Yes, sure.
Thank you for coming. It is important that youths take personal responsibility, as there is no gain in violence, and he has said that effective peace building and advocacy is very key in entrenching peace and unity in our country, and it is our duty as youths to ensure that we put all hands on deck in ensuring that peace reigns in Nigeria. With this, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll go on the streets and to know how Nigerians, especially young Nigerians, spent their Christmas holiday. Just stay with us. That was the interview segment of the program. For you to be part of this program, either by way of sponsorship, participation, or advert placement, you can reach us through our various social media platforms.
VFX footage.
Do you have your bet buckled up to get into the year 2021, the year that has been set to be the year of recovery and the digital year? As a young person with your energetic features, are you ready to dive into the year with a lot of positive energy and vibes? I think that is very important. Looking at the events that played out in 2020 that wasn't so pleasant, the year 2021 is another chance for us to get it right. On that note, I want to thank you for staying with us on this week's episode of the program Youths Can. Until I come your way again next week, I want to wish you a happy new year in advance. I remain your host, Osawoname Ibizugbe. See you next week.